He was a Canadian jazz giant.
A Montreal musician famous right around the world.
We're talking about Oscar Peterson, his legacy celebrated with this statue outside Ottawa's National Arts Centre. The tribute's a popular stop in the capital. Tourists often posing for photographs here. The statue is not the only Oscar Peterson tribute in town this week. Some of Canada's best jazz musicians are here to toast their musical inspiration. And CTV's Joel Haslam is here now to tell us more about a Juno nomination 40 years in the making, right?
Oh, this is such a great story, Graham and Patricia. It's a magical story of discovery, musical heroes, and Canadian pride. A gesture of gratitude from Canadian jazz royalty to the man who will always be king. In the steely silence of an urban landscape, a trumpet sounds for Canada's one and only.
We simply can't say enough about Oscar Peterson's contribution to Canadian culture, Canadian music. That man, he was a hero of this country.
A hero to Jens Lindemann, world-renowned trumpet virtuoso and member of the Order of Canada. Jens is also a jazz man, fueled by the enduring musical gifts of Canada's king.
I've had a fascination with the Canadiana suite since I was a kid. So from the earliest time that I grew up listening to those movements and being inspired by that music, I've had this fascination with the piece. I mean, this is like the musical Bible.
Fascination turned to fire during a visit with 93-year-old Phil Nimmons.
You're holding a piece of living history.
Yeah.
A legendary musician, composer, and teacher.
They simply call him the Dean, as in the Dean of all music, the Dean of all education.
Phil's also a lifelong friend to Oscar Peterson.
I can't help but miss him in many ways. There are a lot of things hanging around in my house that remind me of O.P.
These are Oscar's hand markings.
Yeah.
Among them, an original score of the Canadiana suite. Not the version made famous by Oscar's trio, but another. Composed and orchestrated by Phil Nimmons for big band in 1970.
I said, what do you mean you orchestrated it? He says, well, I've got the parts right here in my basement.
He was stunned, you know, and that's hard to do with Jens.
I was hit with a bolt of lightning. I knew we had to do this piece.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah.
Jens would call on Canadian jazz royalty to form a band.
They are a national treasure in our country.
Legends who played with Oscar Peterson,
The same thing there.
all members of the Order of Canada.
We're talking about a group of stars whose average age is 78.
Soloists would play Oscar's melody. The Yamaha Big Band with members from Newfoundland to BC sharing the stage.
So we covered the entire nation with this group.
Another 4 musicians took turns on the keys.
And of course, the explanation to the audience was, it takes 4 piano players to make one Oscar Peterson.
Staged at the Royal Conservatory's prestigious Kerner Hall, the group would play to a sold-out house. The performance, coined Sweet Canadiana, and nominated for a Juno.
The whole energy level went through the roof, and the audience went crazy. This was living history, and it was ours, Canadian history.
So here is this piece of music that's getting a new life, and I'm very grateful for that. And I think Canada should be too.
And the 2 friends who gave the nation this gift on Oscar's behalf just wish he'd been here to help them unwrap it. And would he have loved this concert?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. If he wouldn't, I would have straightened him out.
I think he would have loved it. There's no way he would have been sitting in the audience, though. He would have jumped on stage and say, that was a great version. Now let me show you how it really goes.
Love those guys. That phenomenal and Juno-nominated musical celebration was recorded by 14-time Grammy Award winner Richard King. He and Jens met when they were at McGill together. When not performing or producing, Jens is a professor at UCLA, and 93-year-old Phil is still teaching at U of T.
Their collaboration is the talk of the jazz community. Music fans grateful that Oscar's love letter to a nation has a new life just in time for Canada's 150th birthday.
Wow.
OP, they call him.
OP.
Love
Oh,
that. That was a beautiful piece, visually and just beautiful to listen to.
And you mentioned their age, right? That style of music, there aren't enough young people doing that style of music.
Well,
right?
if you catch him at the right time, Phil is said to still be performing, picking up the clarinet, playing
Sounds
freestyle
wonderful.
in some of those jazz clubs in Toronto. So what a treat
Amazing
that would
stuff.
be.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Joel.
Good luck at the Junos.